I'm so excited that you've taken time out to tune in to the Ella Johnson Show. I hope you enjoy the broadcast. So sit back, relax, and I'll see you at the end of the show. You know, one day someone asked me, Ella, why do you do talk shows? Like, why is this so important to you? I said, because I want people to know that God does use us. Because sometimes things don't happen to you. They happen through you. And now it's time for the Ella Johnson Show, where we set the table for real talk conversations. So stay tuned. It's all coming up next. The Ella Johnson Show. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Ella Johnson Show. I know you guys aren't normally used to seeing me here on Sundays, but listen, it's always a good time on the Ella Johnson Show. Well, I want to welcome you if you're watching from YouTube. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But do me a favor. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel since you're already there. If you're watching from Facebook, please share the broadcast. We have a very special new and evolved show tonight, because tonight on the Ella Johnson Show, we were going to interview Heidi Sally. You guys remember her. She was on the show earlier today. That was one of our pre-recorded shows because I wanted you guys to get familiar with her story. Unfortunately, she's not able to make it tonight due to circumstances beyond her control. So we're going to have to bring her back. But because my guests are here, they're also domestic violence survivors. We wanted to go ahead and bring you another show anyway, because domestic violence is something that we support and advocate for here on the Ella Johnson Show, because, we believe in bringing the survivors on so that they can tell their stories, so that it will help someone else. So tonight we're going to just kind of pivot a little, and we're going to talk to Elisa. She has agreed to share her story tonight. So we're still going to have a broadcast. We're still going to focus on domestic violence, but we are going to bring Heidi back so that we can talk to you guys a little bit more about what we're all up to on her behalf. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
We're still having the show. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So Elisa, I want you to tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and just kind of tell us a little bit about your organization and, why you're glad to be here today.
Okay. Well, my name is Elissa Boudreau. I am from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I am a mother of two, two-time war veteran, have a plethora of education. My company is Lotus Worldwide Consulting. We do a lot of, coaching work more than consulting, because we like to put their hands to the plow and make our clients work for themselves. We do specialize in domestic violence and domestic violence interventions, not only for the victims, but for the perpetrators also. But Lotus Worldwide is more of an educating factor, because we educate on domestic violence. We make them aware of self-love. We make them aware of themselves. We also help develop them after leaving, or if they're perpetrators, we also help them with their dreams. We help them cultivate what they didn't know they had inside of them. So I kind of work hand in hand with both sides of the fence, believing that everybody deserves a second chance.
I'm so glad you brought that up. We're going to get into that a little bit more later. Yumika, and welcome, Elisa, again. I told you guys are regulars. You're part of the show now, so it is what it is. I'm excited that you're here, but I'm looking forward to hearing your story tonight. Yumika, hello, lady who just got out of the hospital and still here on the Ella Johnson Show.
Hello,
welcome.
Everyone.
Yes,
thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's
So tell everybody
what
who you are, where you're from, and about your organization and what you do for domestic
I
violence.
am Yamika Harmon. I'm originally from Welch, Louisiana. I'm a mother of three, a grandmother of nine, domestic violence survivor. I'm an international domestic violence advocate. Prison ministry, whatever is needed to be done, we do it.
I love it. And I love
Yeah.
it. You know, this is what I love about women. We are so strong here. She was in the hospital, but yet, you know, she's still serving people by
Yeah.
being here today in spite of
Uh,
all that. I love it. I love it. I recognize that and I do appreciate it, Emeka. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies.
Thank you for
Yes,
thank
having me.
we're building.
Thank
All
thank you.
right. So, you know, guys, I'm not sure if you know anything about domestic violence. Well, let me tell you, domestic violence is about control. It's not about love. I
It's
know
not.
that sometimes we want to think that he is making a fuss over me. He is just crazy. I can't talk to nobody. I can't look at nobody. He even tells me what to wear. And a lot of times we think that's cute. We think that's love, but that is control, which is domestic violence. And the reason we do these shows is because a lot of people don't realize that they're actually in a domestic violence situation. That's why I like to bring these on so you can recognize some of the things that my guests say to you that you can, you know, look at and like, wait a minute. Because one of the reasons I started doing domestic violence shows is because of my cousin. She was killed by her ex boyfriend, and none of us had a clue that she was even going through anything like that. So I have committed the Ella Johnson show to always bringing survivors here to share their story so that someone watching this can make a conscious decision and get out before it's too late. So, Lisa, I know we've learned a little bit about you. You know, you're from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, born and raised. You know, there's
Yeah.
two siblings, you and your sister, and your parents. But I want to start with you because I want us to be able to move through this so people can really get a good understanding of what happened to you. At
Okay.
14, you're dating. Tell us a little bit about that 14 life. Now, I know you don't have to spare anything because if all of us have been 14 and some of
Yes.
us were hell raisers. Sounds like you were too.
Um,
So, from one
kind
hell
of.
raiser to another.
you.
I
Tell us a
think I
little bit
was
about what it was
introduced.
like. Yeah.
I was introduced. My parents were real strict, so we couldn't like go in the street. We could only stay at the edge of the driveway. Um,
Yeah.
if we went to the store, which was down the street, literally my grandmother would spit on the ground, and literally, if it dried up before you got back, you were in trouble. So, I kind of had like a strict upbringing with my grandmother, but my mom worked a lot. So my grandmother was older, and she kind of let us slide with some things. And then when she go to bed, you could sneak out. So of course, at 14 years old, you kind of wild, kind of hot. Most girls kind of feeling themselves. Kind of started liking this guy in our neighborhood, and he was much older than I was. So of course, you're gonna. I'm a child, basically. So just started from there, sneaking in and out of the house with him.
How
He
old
got
was
on
he? How old was he?
19. He was 19. I was
19.
14.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And I dated him my entire high school year for all 4 years, from
Okay.
ninth until the 12th grade. Got on drugs, stood me up for prom, and I think that's what kind of you know broke me a little bit. I was already broken because, of course, divorced parents, youngest child, spoiled by father and mom, so looking for love in all the wrong places, and just got caught up in that situation. He was abusive, um, for the most part, and that's how the abuse started.
So let's go back to something. You said that you were on drugs at 14
No,
years of age.
I wasn't on drugs. I
He
said
was he oh, he was on drugs. Okay.
yeah. I
So
mean,
he was on drugs. Did he introduce it to you at all?
no,
No?
no,
Okay. What kind of
no.
drugs was he on at 19 years of age?
Um, cocaine, crack,
Okay. Okay.
crack.
But he didn't introduce it to you. And so
No.
you said that he had abusive behavior already. You were experiencing this. Now, were you at 14 when he started abusing you?
Yeah, he had another girlfriend. He had a grown girlfriend who had a baby for him. So it was a tug of war. I had fights. I got a scar in my head from being it got bust open through during a fight me and her had. But she provoked the fight because I was at a party and she jumped out the back seat of a car laying down and snuck me basically. But we had a down home fight. She had a child for him. It was pretty bad from 14 to about 17ish, I guess. It was
Okay.
pretty rough for me. I lived in a rough neighborhood. It was nothing but drugs and, and poverty and, and that's, I guess they say that's what goes on in that type of environment. It was just drugs and poverty all around me. So um, I kind of was in my own environment.
Wow. Now I know that we love to try to ask about the home life, but you already kind of explained to us that your grandmother was just kind of letting you guys do whatever. I mean, because she's older, and if
Yeah.
you guys say you're okay, then they believe you. Because I'm sure she's
Yeah.
like, look, she's doing the best she could. In other words, and did you ever get in trouble with the police though, being involved with this guy?
Not so much with him. Uh, More so with friends. Just I lived in a rough neighborhood. My friends were just as bad as me. I guess drugs, and I mean I did do small drugs, nothing like marijuana or something. And I never indulged in the hard drugs because in my mind, like my mama will kill me. Lord have mercy, my mama will kill my mama kind of kept us straight. I could kind of get away with smoking a little weed, but you get on them heavy drugs, and that wasn't gonna play with her. That wasn't gonna fly right with her. She probably beat the mess out of me. But my mom had fear in our hearts, but she just didn't have. She worked so much until she just didn't have time to
Yeah.
address certain issues that should have been addressed. And I'm not sure if she saw them or if she worked so hard that, it blindsided her or she just didn't want to see it. But the signs were there. The signs were there. It's just she worked so much.
Now this is kind of typical, I think. Parents, and it's understandable at the same time, that parents are so focused on trying to keep the lights on, keep a roof over your head. I don't have time with these kids and their mess. And I'm saying this because these are the things I hear and have
Yeah,
heard as well. And they just want you to go to school and do the right thing and keep your dress tail down. That's
that's
like to the level of, right, you make it, because I think you said that in one of the earlier broadcasts, that this is kind of what we're told. Just,
yeah,
we don't know, you're not gonna talk
Yeah,
about sex. Just keep your dress tail down. That's all I'm gonna tell
yeah.
you. Don't go
baby.
out here and don't get pregnant.
At 14 years old, I was climbing trees and riding bicycles.
Me too. And playing
I
with
could,
baby dolls.
I couldn't do anything. My daddy was super. Oh Lord,
But my
baby.
dad wasn't in the picture at that time. My mom and
Yeah,
dad were going through some rough, their divorce was horrible. And
Yeah.
so for years they didn't speak at all. And we kind of didn't have a good communication with my dad's side of the family. Due to a couple of lies that were told, but my mom believed them because it was a grown up telling it to her and she worked. She trusted this person to take care of us. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it was a lot of things. I'm not saying it was, I don't know what could have transpired for her to make it to where my dad she just hated him so much. But for a long time, it was just a lot. And I think acting out, wanting your daddy, then meeting a man and getting the attention, looking for love in all the wrong places. Young, my
yeah.
mom worked two jobs on the weekdays, uh, almost 19 to 20 hours and we would see her just to get ready for school in the morning, and she would try her best to get off the bus early enough to come see us before she go to her second job. Then she would get off at 7 a.m. in the morning to do the same thing over, and then on Saturdays and Sundays she worked 12s at a
Wow.
third
So
job.
what would you have wanted more from her? Because I'm glad that you're bringing this out, because there are a lot of parents that are in the same situation your mother was in, having to
Yeah.
work, having to do whatever. And what kinds of things would you have wanted your mother to do more of that you think would have prevented you from going this route in life?
Um, I think she did what she thought was best by working and making sure that she kept us fed and, clothes or
Right.
whatever. But if she would have, just sat down a little bit more, but she just didn't have the time. I mean, by the time my mom retired, she was sick. So,
And we'll talk about that too. But did you have any positive role models in your life at that time, Elisa?
I mean, like my aunt, she did the best she could with what she had too. I just feel that, when you are a child outside of their other children, those children are gonna get first. Those are my children. So I'm going to take care of my children first, and then you'll get what's left. And I don't blame her because that's her husband
Yeah.
and her working to
Right.
make sure their family is fed, their family has clothing on their back, their family is, straight, not lacking before they give to somebody else. And then my mom,
Right.
like I said, my dad left her with so many bills that most of her money was going towards bills. I'll tell you how bad it was. My mom was making $67 every 2 weeks after they took out everything out of her check.
Where was she working?
She was a school. She was a paraprofessional. She worked for the schools. She was a teacher.
$67 every 2 weeks.
After her check was garnished because my dad, he made cash money. He made cash money. So they couldn't sue him. They sued her for everything. When she left him, every bill came to her. Every one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad. So now how did you get rid of this guy? I mean, this guy that was putting you through all
Um,
this, had the girlfriend beating you up. First of all, were you guys fighting over him? Please tell me no.
she was, not me, because I had him for real at 14. I mean,
And she's
I
beating
can
up a
say,
child.
yeah, she was fighting me as like I was her age, and she should have been fighting him, literally. Um, After him, I mean, it took a minute. I could tell you my mom sent me to Germany. My sister was in the military. She sent me to Germany, but it wasn't all him because I got to Germany and my drawers was hot. And I was 17 years old. And
She did not say her drawers was hot, Yamika.
yeah, they was
She
They
said
were
hot.
her
hot.
drawers was.
Was hot.
They was hot. They was pretty hot.
Listen,
Got
I
around
mean, you're no
themselves.
different
Got
than a
around,
lot of people. You're no
Exactly.
different than a lot of people. So
got around
now
all of
that your
those military
drawers
men.
were hot, so
All of
now
those
that your
military
drawers were
men.
hot, what did you do now that you're in Germany with hot drawers?
Okay,
What
so I
what
did something. I did. Okay, so my sister got me in high school at Zweibrücken American High School, which was in Zweibrücken, Germany. That's where I went to school at for my last year, my high school year. But of course, getting into the all of the clubs on base, from the NCOs to the uh, whoever, officer clubs, whatever, I was there and met one guy and he was there alone in Germany, but beknownst to me, he had a whole wife on the other side in the United
oh
States. And so kind of got involved with him, um, caught him with another girl that was from there, tried to beat down the door in the base, on the base. So my sister and them, they really had to send me back home. They had to send me back home.
you
And
were
when they
fighting the woman?
no, I wasn't fighting the woman. I was gonna fight him. I wasn't gonna fight her.
Oh, okay. I missed that part. I couldn't
But
understand. Okay.
no, he answered the door, but I saw her in the background. And so that's how that happened. But literally ended up back in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and that's where the real story begins. The real story begins is when I get back to Baton Rouge, I meet a drug dealer, and that's where
Uh-oh.
the start of it.
And I think we were talking about that, right? We like that money, right?
Fast, that
We
good
like that
money, and
money.
fast. It
Yep.
wasn't good money, but it was fast money, and that's where my start began of the up and down, living that life. I had goals in my mouth. every guy that I dated was a drug dealer, and most of them came from the hood, so they had issues too, and broken too, and it just started from there, and the abuse and the misuse of me and my body, and what I could do with it to get what I needed. Seeing my mom struggle, didn't want to see me do the same thing. Got what I wanted for in high school. Just the things that I needed to do. I felt I needed to do to get out of the impoverished mindset that I was already in. Because in order for you to think that getting out of the ghetto was through drugs, you was already impoverished. And that was my whole thing. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get me one. We're gonna get out this drug out of here. We're gonna leave them drugs alone. We're gonna build us a business. We're gonna da 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 da. Didn't happen that way. It was just drug dealer after drug dealer, abuse after abuse, and it just began from there.
So were you sleeping with men for money too?
Of course, yeah.
Right, right. I mean that because that all of that kind of comes with it as well. That's why I
Oh
was
yeah.
asking. So let's talk. Let's get to your abuser, the one that actually changed your entire life. This story. How did you guys meet?
In the club.
In the club. All right. Did he have goals? I can't
Yeah.
imagine you with grills. Can you imagine her with grills? I can't
It's,
imagine you with grills.
you
Because
know
she's so
what?
prissy.
I'm laughing because I have goals, been having them for 20 years, and it amazes me that people still say grills. How many did you have, Lisa?
I had two. I had the two eye teeth.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Two eye teeth. Yeah.
Okay, so you mean you only had on this side and everything else was
Yeah, see,
real
like
teeth?
I
Okay,
only
that's how
have
it
that.
was.
And people would actually say, you from Louisiana. Why? Because you got goals in your
Got
mouth.
goals in your mouth. Yeah.
Really? I
Yeah.
did not
Yeah.
realize that.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so you got the girls and you were kind of proud, I mean, to be a girlfriend of a drug dealer. But
Of course.
weren't there risks involved with that? Like, tell us about some of those risks. Other than like you could have got killed. I mean, other types of things. What risks were involved in that type of relationship?
Holding the drugs for them in my house, watching them
Ooh.
down in my house.
Watching them do what? I missed that
Break it
part. Watching
down,
them do
break it down in my house.
break it down.
Yeah, it's a process to make crack cocaine. It's not just you don't
They
just
were cooking it.
it's a process. It's a process. You got to
Oh,
boil water.
wow.
It's a lot. It comes in powder form, but then you add soda to it, and it forms into something hard, and that's what they smoke off of. So it makes big old rocks into whatever you want to do. So yeah. So I lived
So
that
you
life.
actually
I lived it.
okay. So
I
were
lived
you
that life.
afraid to hold what kind of stuff were you holding? Drugs or guns or what?
Whatever.
Oh wow. And you weren't afraid about going to jail?
Dumb. No.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Okay.
grow up in
So
that life. You get what I'm saying? Like you grow up in
yeah,
that life, and there's not
gotcha.
a fear factor in
Yeah.
that moment. Now today, oh Lord, my God! But then it was just I grew up there. My main focus was not to see my mama suffer ever again. I'm gonna buy me a house. I'm gonna make sure my mama got this. I'm gonna get everything I can get out of whoever I can get it out of. They getting it out of me. They beating me. I'm gonna get what I'm gonna get. I lived that life. I lived it. It's nothing I can do with it but say I lived it. I'm here today. I'm still standing. Live to tell it.
Now you know what? You just said something and it just touched a nerve. Oh, now you already know what nerve you just touched. She said, now let me remind you, Rebecca, you heard what she said. I slept with them and I did whatever I had to do. I've had to get beaten. I was going to get me some money. I was getting out of the ghetto.
Out of the ghetto. And
That
see,
is
that's why I
exactly
said,
what I think that some people really do as well.
that's why I said
Yeah.
Diddy's trial struck
Yes.
some chords in me. And when my daughter looked at me and said, Mama, I've been watching this trial and it reminded me so much of you and my daddy. ever since, and I've started writing my second volume of Forbidden Love, Domestic Violence Out Loud, off of the Diddy's trial. Those different psychological, sociological, all these things that happened during his trial, I could see my life flash in front of me, and I
Yes.
understood the assignment. I understood Cassie. I understood the blank people. I understood that all they wanted was a part out of you. Don't If you ain't never suffered, you don't know. But when you in the ghetto and you watching and you know that you different, I know I'm different. I know I'm different. Can't nobody tell me I'm not different. The hell I've been through in my life. Can't nobody tell me that was the reason why I went through the hell is because the devil didn't want to see me at this point right here.
Exactly. That's true.
And see,
And
I
changing
can't,
lives, girl. Yes.
I
My
can't,
God.
I can't relate to that part. I feel bad, but I grew up with 2 parents. Never lacked anything, and I'm sorry you had to go through that, Lisa. I'm
We
so sorry.
Me
I'm
too.
so sorry, baby.
Me
and
too.
I laid on my back a many days to make sure I would run home and say, Mama, I found this money. I found this money. And I'm if somebody caught having sex. Just so my mama wouldn't struggle, man.
Mm.
So nobody know my real story. They just know parts of it. And they look at me and they say she got it all together. Well, I got some trauma, man, that I deal with. I have to. I have to get up every morning and say, I still am alive. I made it out when somebody else didn't. I still got a chance. I still can tell somebody that it's going to be all right. I still
That's
can
right.
say I went through it and I'm still here today to live to tell you that you can too. That it's not, it's a learning experience. Yes. Have I done some things that I'm not, that I'm so ashamed of? Yes, but guess what? Until I started speaking them, I didn't have authority over them.
That's right. Wow.
And then to marry
Let's
somebody to get into something. Oh my God.
let's talk
Whew.
about that. You okay? You okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
it just hit me a little
Um,
good.
I know it. I know it. And listen, that if there's a place that you can feel free to let it out, is right here. This is a place of healing because God has blessed this show to be able to have people come here and get free. So whatever it takes, however many times we got to talk about it, because I want people to realize, stop trying to hold it together. Let it out. Let it out. If you want to scream, scream. Because one thing for sure, Elisa, the enemy did not take your voice. He might have
He did.
taken your body and used it up for different things, but he did
Mhm.
not take you still got joy for God. You're still out here helping people. So listen.
Yes.
So let's go because I want people to hear the entirety of your story because
Mm.
it is big, guys. Her story is so you decided to marry this guy. Let's lead up to now
No,
before we get this.
this is somebody totally different.
Okay, let's talk about let's get into the husband, the
Ooh,
abuser. Let's get into him.
all of um met my husband at a beauty shop. I was 6 months pregnant with my oldest daughter.
Mhm.
Um, the story is I met him and his cousin, and I dated the cousin first. It is what it is.
No
Um,
judgment, baby.
um,
That's right.
kind of didn't date him. He had his own girlfriend. He was just or whatever. But what happened, the cousin's father died and they lived like in the country. And he asked me to pick up who would be my husband. He asked me to pick up his cousin for him.
Okay.
And I brought his cousin to the funeral. And the family was like, why am I there? Because they knew who I was to the other cousin. And his girlfriend was there.
Oh,
His mama was
oh,
there. I knew his mama, but it's a long story, but I knew his mama before I even knew him. But anyway, just long story short, we first one night stand turned into a marriage.
Okay. So you decided. Now, what did the cousin think when he saw you on the arms of his cousin? How was that dynamic? Did that cause a fight?
It
What
didn't
happened?
because they both were tricksters. They both was trying to play me. But what
Gotcha.
happened was, so he
Wow.
calls the cousin over to my house while he's there, and okay, he calls the cousin, and they tried to play me, and I put him out. Like I put him out,
What
and
do you mean they
so
tried to play you? Like how?
like
What did they do?
they was trying to figure out if I was going like one or the other, who I was gonna pick. Like, oh, he shows up to my house like he didn't know his cousin was at my house. So who I'm gonna pick? And I'm like, okay, I ain't picking either one of y'all. Y'all both could get out. And so the cousin, he was like, I ain't going nowhere. And announced to me, we just started. I mean, it was just there, but he was abusive, and it started out not abusive, but it began to get real ugly. And I
How
married
was
him
it
with
at
a black.
first though? How was it? How was it at
It was
first?
fun.
Was he
It
ever?
was
It
fun.
was fun. Yeah.
It was
He was
fun.
spending money on you. He was
It was
spending money. Okay.
adventurous. Adventure.
Yes. No,
Adventurous.
you just said you went down the aisle with a black eye. Please tell us what happened on your pre-wedding day.
Um,
What happened?
well, the black eye was maybe a couple of weeks old because it takes a while. Black eyes are in stages, so it goes through 7 stages.
Okay.
And when you get to that yellow stage, I don't care how much makeup you put on, it ain't gonna cover it up.
It's not
You
gonna
might can
cover it.
cover, it's not gonna cover up that black.
Really? Oh
No,
my
That's right.
but
gosh. Okay.
that yellow is going to show out of that makeup.
Okay.
But my sister was in there putting my makeup on for my wedding, saying, "Are you sure you want to marry this man?" Trying to cover my eye up, and I'm like, "Yeah." And then his mama come in. Oh, it was late already. He might not show up, so it was so much going on that day. But yeah, I married him. I did. I married him with a black eye. And the day that I married him, everything really changed. Like it literally changed drastically. It wasn't no, I'm going to the clubs with him or nothing like that. I'm at home. I'm being the housewife. I'm doing the house everything and still getting beat for stuff that I'm not doing. And it just got out of control. It was a control thing. And, come to find out, he grew up in the same environment, worse um, than I did. And he was an abused child and he took on those same traits as his father.
Ooh. So when you say you got beaten for all kinds of things, like what kinds of things was he saying that he was beating you for? Like
A
what?
man jumped out the window and he saw it. Um,
The rice was too
um,
hard. The gravy
I'll
wasn't
be
done.
driving down the street. I'm looking straight forward, but there's a man in the car next to us, and he's watching me. So either I know him or I'm flirting with him. Ain't took my eyes off the front of the road, and it would just be a beating. It'll be a beating. But my ex-husband also dealt with mental issues, and we'll get to that part. And he dealt with drug issues. So his mind played tricks on him all the time, and I was the target. So yeah, it was
Oh,
a
really?
yes.
So he was at a mental. So what do they call that when you have hallucinations? When you're is
Um,
it schizophrenia?
yes, he was
Schizophrenia.
labeled bipolar schizo.
Bipolar. Yeah.
3 months before. I mean, 3 months into my pregnancy of my last child. My first child, I saw it through the whole marriage. But what happened was when he made like 32 or something like that, I think they said he had this breakdown that just took him over the edge or whatever. And so he turned bipolar schizo, didn't know anybody but me the first couple of days. Asked for me the whole time. Uh, Went to a mental facility. I was 3 months, about 3 or 4 months pregnant. And that was the last time he hit me too. He hit me with a plexiglass in the back of my head and cracked it. And so, I dealt with the mental parts of him because I was still married at that point to him. So I dealt with him being mental and I had to take care of him and make sure that he was okay. And then he finally got his own place and I still took care of him up until death. We paid for his funeral.
Really?
Yeah.
So was he on meds though for his schizophrenia?
He was on meds, but being alone in a home by himself, he wasn't responsible. But in the last maybe a year and a half, 2 years of his life, his mom had kind of come in and taken over and given him his meds. So he could communicate. He was about, I would say, about 80% sane. He would go off and talk to himself and do little crazy things that you would say, yeah, you could tell he still had the issues, but um, he kind of could hold a conversation with me, um, and we had good parenting. I mean, he loved my baby to death, but he still thought that I was his wife, and that was the scary part.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, I bet that was scary. So even after you guys were no longer together, but just because you were taking care of him, it must have triggered him to think that everything's. So talk to us a little bit about what kind of stuff you endured with him. I know on the last show we kind of left off on one of the things you talked about was when it came to sex with you guys,
Yeah.
and how that was. What was? Did you feel like the sex was love when you had sex with him?
Not all the time.
At
If he was
first,
on
it was
drugs,
yeah.
oh yeah, of course. At first, yeah, that's how I fell in love. Like seriously, to today, I have not really been with a man that could perform like him.
Don't say it. Don't
You know,
say it.
like to
I
today,
would
it's
sit here
like
saying, no, is she gonna say it? Is she gonna say it? Listen,
like
keep it real.
serious.
Keep it
Like
real.
seriously, I have not been with any man that's better in bed than my ex-husband ever.
Wow. Okay,
Can't
can you
compare.
tell us why he was so can you tell us why he was so good? Or is that too
Yeah.
much? Should I ask? I mean, I
Yeah.
want details. I
He
want to
was
know.
pretty much endowed and he knew how to do it. He worked it.
You knew how to use it.
From
Okay, all right. That's
the
good enough for
upside
me.
down, flip me upside down,
Okay,
all
we're
kind of
moving
stuff.
Girl,
on. Let's move on. Let's move on.
girl. Now you know that's okay. All right. So we
Bro.
got it. He was good in bed.
He was
But
good in
then that
bed,
changed. That changed.
but um the drugs made him like a monster. Um, he brought women into our home, in our bed, made me watch, made me do a lot of things that literally I did not want to do, but had to do if I wanted to live that day or not get beat that day. Just kind of suck up a lot. I sucked up a lot, a lot, a lot. Um, I sucked up a lot. And I understand domestic violence. I understand the psychological parts of it because I loved him. He didn't love me.
Exactly.
And people don't get that. They say why? Because my love was genuine and his wasn't. Why should I
So
be, why should you hold me accountable because I fell in love with somebody and everybody falls in love and they know how hard it is to get out of just love, let alone someone who's abusing you. So now I love him, but he's abusing me. And I know if I don't leave, I'm going to die. I'm going to die in this place, but I love him. I'm talking about to the very core of you, almost like a mother being snatched away from her child and they're pulling and she has the baby's arms and he has the legs. That's how hard it is to get out of a relationship when you've been brainwashed, when you've been
oh,
what they call it groomed. I've been groomed since I was 14 years old to be in relationships with men who were had money but was abusive, and they knew that I wanted to get out. That they knew it. They knew that
they sound like baby
yeah,
ditties. They sound like baby ditties to me.
my daughter said the same thing. And see, if my ex-husband would have had money, or any of those men who I've been with had money like Diddy, I would probably be dead by now.
Yeah.
Because the power that these men have over these women, people would never understand it unless you've been in it. And that's
True.
why I'm so passionate about watching the Diddy trial and being able to understand and feel what those women were feeling and how humiliated they must have felt to sit in front of people and have to say the things that they were made to do. No, you wanted it. No, that's not true. You don't understand. This man, if my husband was abusive and he had hardly no money, you just think about a billionaire with everything that he could. He had everybody in his pockets.
Yeah.
They didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
They
I
didn't have a
understand your
chance. That's
passion.
why when I hear
Yeah.
people say she wanted it, I wanted to get out the ghetto. I didn't want to get beat. But once you in domestic violence, how you get out of it? Do you just walk out? No, you can't just walk out. You got to have a plan. And if don't nobody tell you that you got to have a plan, then what you do, you stay there. Don't nobody tell you that I support you. What you going to do, you going to stay there. What if you go to your mama house and they tell you, they put you out, you got kids, what you going to do? You going back home. And they say 7 times, you go back and you go back and you go back. You go back because people aren't educated. Your family ain't educated. They ain't knowledgeable on this thing. All they know is they love you and they're going to do whatever it takes. Well, if I got to call her stupid to make her realize it, no, you're pushing me further away.
Oh, that's key.
Because if I come to your house running from abuse and run right into it, I'd rather go back to my own home, comfortable in my own bed and get beat in my own house than to get beat down by people who I really believe should be there for me. My mama, my sister, my daddy, my cousins, all of these people who literally called me stupid. I love them. We got a good understanding right now. But back in the days, they weren't educated. I had to get them up to par with understanding what it is to be a domestic violence victim.
So are you saying that when you went, so are you saying that when you went back to get some help because you want to get out, you had people that judged you and sent you right back to them? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Your family. Yes. Your family is going to send you right back if they're not educated. They're going to abuse you more because you're going to come there. You stupid. You shouldn't have never stayed. You're going to go back. We know you're going back. When you go back, then they stop speaking to you for a little while. Then you get more invested in him and that's all you got. So he beating you 1 minute and he loving you the next minute. And that's what you got to take because you know if you go over there, you're going to get the same thing. You might not get the punches and the beatings, but what they fail to realize, the physical part ain't got nothing to do with that psychological, emotional, mental stuff that goes on in your mind. That's the part you got to fight every day with to today. At 55 years old, my mind still go through things. I still have triggers. I still hurt. I still see things. I still have embarrassment on some things and still going through some things. But I dare not let it take me down. I'm going to stand steadfast and unmovable in the situation I'm in. Yes, I went through all of that stuff. Yes, it took me through some hellified things. It made me have to question who I was, or was I really who God said I was supposed to be? And it's still today when I fall, I say, okay, God, wow, when am I ever going to get to the promise? When am I ever going to get there? Because I've been through so much in my life, man. Like, I just want a fair.
Amen.
People look at me and they look at my appearance. I could put on clothes. I could put on makeup. I can get my nails done. I can walk out looking like $1 million. But what about my insides? Yes. Have you ever asked me how I'm feeling? No, she's strong. She could go through this. Oh, you should. You're a seasoned Christian. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. But I'm a human being too. And if you can have a hard day, why can't I? Amen. Why can't I? Why can't I say that I'm strong, but I need somebody right now? Why can't I say that?
Wow. I'm so glad that you're getting your breakthrough today. You're getting it. And I'm glad that you're experiencing what you're experiencing right now, because it's good for people to see that emotion. It's good for people to see that this is what happens when what we're trying to do is, there are people that went through the same thing Alyssa did. You know, we all been, hot out there doing things, but none of us wanted to go in and fall into the hands of an abuser. Nobody wanted that. And then to continuously fall into a hand of an abuser is what happened to Elisa. So you're with your husband. You said that he's making you do things when you guys have sex that you didn't want to do. What can you talk about what kinds of things that was?
Well, to do, I can say as this broadcast, and probably will probably cancel out every man that probably want to be with me, but it stopped me from having oral sex for sure. Like, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I don't.
Say less. Yeah. And because one thing I want to say too about that, and the reason I asked that, not to put you on the spot, but to let people see that, God created sex for a beautiful thing. And I
Yeah.
do want to pray that God will restore you so
You
that
know,
when he does send you a husband, that you'll be able to give him that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Yamika.
um, the only thing that I try to get B to understand is that she have to stop putting people in front of her. She do for everybody. She put people in front of her, and I keep telling her it has to stop. These same people you putting in front of you, will they jump over a puddle of water to go meet you? And I tell her, we talk every day, several times a day, and it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to love yourself.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
okay to worry about yourself, because you can't continue taking on other people heaviness on top of your heaviness. It's sometimes it's time for you to say no. It could be family, but say no, and let you know means no.
How do you feel hearing that, Elisa? What is that? What? Because I know she knows what she's talking about, and you do too. How does it feel hearing that? Do you agree?
I do agree. And, I teach on boundaries, setting boundaries, that no is a complete sentence. And it's just like, as I teach it, it's like I get put in a situation and I'm like, okay, God, how do I, and I guess he's literally testing me, because I'm seeing now that, my no should be no and whatever. Um, but I've learned a lot, and I have been learning to say no. And that's why I took this
Good.
trip this time. I've never been without my kids, or going on anywhere without my kids. I always bring them with me. This was my first trip by myself, and I love it. I loved just having that
Good
time
for
to
you.
myself, that I could just take
Yes.
care of me and what I liked and what I needed at the time. And it did feel selfish at first, but then after like maybe the second or third day, I was like, I could live like this for real. I could literally live carefree. I could literally go home, sell my house, and just travel the world and just be okay. And I
Well,
promise you
do
that
it.
I felt,
Do it.
because
Just
I've
stop
never
in
been.
Orlando at some point. Stop in Orlando at some point on your trip. Holla at a sister. Listen,
Yes, yes.
you shared a lot about your ex-husband, and I don't think there was a dry eye when we talked about this the last time, and how you talked about how he treated you, what he did. One of the things I remember from that conversation, you said that whenever he would bring women into the bed, he treated them better than he treated you.
Yeah. I
How
either
did
had to
how did that?
hop in or watch.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? And I want to pose this question to the people that are watching this podcast. I want you to think about it. For those of you that are in a relationship, if your husband, he's constantly beating you, he's constantly putting you down, then he walks into the house with a woman and expects you to perform as he would, or to perform whatever it is he wants you to do to her. Um, and then you got to do that. And then he's forceful with you, but gentle with the other woman. And you're seeing him be gentle with the other woman. Like, how would you feel? Like, I mean, Yumeka, I'm gonna ask you because you're on the show. What did that trigger you when Elisa talked about that? How she was treated by her ex-husband in bed?
Baby, I would be thinking, I'll be, like they say, thinking of a master plan.
I
Cutting
did.
it off is what I would be thinking. That was mine. Cutting it off.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
master plan was making
Yeah.
sure they feel the same pain that I'm feeling before I exit
Yeah.
stage.
I think because
But
I was 14 when it first started, it wasn't, you know,
it's
it
almost like
just
you
was a
expected it.
cycle. It was
Yeah,
a
it was
cycle,
like a part of
you
your
know.
life. It was a part of your
And
life.
when I did decide to leave, I did. I laid in the bed for a week because he had beat me really bad. That's the night I told you he came back and took me out that bed from my feet. And he beat me pretty bad. My baby came in. It was just a big old thing. And for a week, I laid in the bed like, how do I kill him and get away with it?
Yeah.
And the day
If
that
you
I
would have
left,
called me, if you would have called me, we'd have figured it out. And we would, if you would have figured it out, I'd be like, look here, let me think about it. I'll call you back. What?
All we
I
had,
was
Oh
so
my gosh.
battered and
all we had
bruised.
to do was find a cesspool of acid.
Little girl, I was so
Girl.
bad bruised. I didn't want my mama to see me like that. So I stayed there for a week and tried to kind of take care of myself. And of course, he was the type of man, once he beat me, then he wanted to turn around and take care of me. And so
Oh,
he nursed me and tried to nurse me back to health. But the whole
Wow.
time I was trying to plot on how I could kill him. And God said, get up. I'm looking around like I heard that for real. Like, get up. I got up. I said, but I need to get a truck and I need to move my stuff and I need to do all of this stuff. I said, move. Me and my
he was
daughter
going to
left.
kill you. He was going to kill you.
We
Yeah.
left with nothing really but some changing of clothes.
Yeah.
I took my truck, but we fought over that truck forever until he totaled it, hitting a police officer drunk. But it was the only vehicle we had. It was in my name, but we were married. And they were like, okay, if he goes to somewhere and you see the truck somewhere and you got a key, you could drive off with it if he see it somewhere. And so, of course, he ended up with it last.
You,
And he told it.
you know,
And when he told it, none of the bills were paid on it or anything. The insurance wasn't on it. The car note hadn't been paid. He hadn't done any of that. And so that was the beginning of the end, basically. That's when I knew, I couldn't go back. But of course, he went to jail for abusing me and got out of jail. And the day he got out of jail, of course, got pregnant with my now will be 17-year-old in 3 months.
you said something just now
Ooh.
that a lot of women think about is okay, and how I'm gonna get my clothes and how I'm gonna get my things. That women think about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
I would really like to know why. What's the concept? You know, is it because and I'm asking myself that too.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Is it because the things that, you know, it's for us. We own it. So I'm not gonna leave none of my things with him. My clothes or nothing. I'm not leaving my stuff with him because it's for me.
Well, I can say this. I think one of my triggers was the fact that my sister's first husband, they divorced. Well, they separated. They didn't separate. They were in the military together. She got out before him, like some months before his time was to get out. He took her to his mom's house and got her to his mom's house, took all the money out the bank and told her, you can't come back home. And till today, he's married to the woman that literally walked into my sister's house and took over her furniture, her clothes, her everything, her life, basically. And I think, with me, I'm like, okay, you ain't finna give all these women you got, they could come in this house and it's my house. Because this was the problem. It wasn't me in his house. It was me in my mama house. My mama co-signed for me to get that house. And I still had to leave it. That's the problem. I had to leave it with him because he would
Oh,
not move.
wow.
So
So
he
yeah,
wasn't
that's
paying no
Oh,
bill. He
that's why
wasn't
I'm
doing
saying
nothing.
that I kind
He
of
wasn't paying the
understand.
car note, the insurance, the house note, the nothing. He was not paying anything. He was just living there. And right now, today, I cannot even write a check or get a check cashed at Walmart because he was writing my checks and signing his name to it, and Walmart still honored them, and they still making me pay for it till today. And this been 20 something years ago.
But
No one.
what I'm saying is, I kind of understand now that when a woman decides she wants to, get her things and not leave them, because if she don't have anything else, she have those things, you know, even if it's material, they
Yes.
for us. I own
Yes.
it. It's mine. And I'm not
Yes.
gonna allow you to take something that's for me,
Mm,
you know.
mm, mm,
You think,
mm.
and why?
so Elisa, yeah, I
Um,
know. Deal with it, girl. Deal with it. Listen, I, that's a lot. I just had a comment. Someone said, "Oh, he would have been unalived." Yeah, I. It is so easy for us to talk about what we would do if, you know what I'm saying. It is,
What if you
and
can't
I
even
mean
get
that's
to the
part of the
gun?
conversation. But you
What
can't
if
get
you
to the
can't?
gun. Like, yeah, what if you can't get to the gun? What if you can't? I
I
mean,
mean,
you gotta
yeah,
fight or flight. I mean, what do you do
my
in a
legs were
situation
my
like
strength.
this?
I thank God. I thank God for the army. My legs was my strength because that would get him to. I kick like a horse. I was a big girl. I wasn't no. I'm little now, but I was big. I was 12, 14, 16s. I kick like a horse. We gonna fight. I fought. People be like, "You did you?" I fought. He was a man, an angry drug baby. Anybody that's got a mental illness, angry and on drugs and on alcohol and fighting you, he is a monster. You could fight all day, all you praying that you make it out.
Yeah, I believe
You
that when you
pray.
heard God's voice, God was letting you know right then He was going to kill you.
Yeah,
I really
yeah.
believe that. Yeah. and
you,
and God didn't want you focusing on the wrong thing, which is your house, what you're losing and giving up, because He can restore all that.
He
that's
did.
it.
He can restore all that and more. So I don't
He
want anybody out there thinking, well, what am I going to do? Well, I tell you what you're going to do. You're going to trust God,
And you're gonna
sure.
live.
and you're going to be all right. You're going to be all
And
right
since
because you
then,
got to
I've
get out. Yeah.
And since then, I bought me my own house with nobody else's name on it, nothing. I've
There you
literally
go.
flourished. I've been homeless about 5 or 6 times. I've slept in my cars. I've slept at people's houses. I've gotten to the point to where people say you got to leave. We're tired of you, or whatever, or you can't contribute as much as we need you to contribute. You got to go, or however it is. Been in some tough situations, but I can tell you that I never gave up. And I looked at my children and I said, my mama fought for us. My mama, every day she got up, she made it happen no matter
Yes.
what mental health
Yes.
issues she went through, no matter what abuse she went through with my
Yeah.
dad, no matter how many times she got a check that said $67. She still went to work every day. My mama didn't miss not one day of work unless she was sick, and she worked her behind off. And baby, let me tell you, she told us everything you need is on the inside of you. And from today on, when I got grown enough to understand what that meant, I have held on to that. And her last words was, "I trust God." And in the midst of you dying, you can trust God, then I can trust Him while I'm living and going through whatever hell I'm going through, because I know if I go through it and get to the other side, it's going to be all right.
You know what, Ellen and Lisa know. I love her so much, like a sister. I would literally do anything for her. And if I have it, her and them kids will not go without.
Amen.
Will
I
not.
love it. That's beautiful.
Will
That's
not.
beautiful.
She has
Well,
been
it
a,
sounds
a
like you have a
very
good
good.
support system. Yeah. So,
And it's my
I think
friends more than my family. It's my friends more than
well,
my
that's all
family
right.
because they're on the
Yeah.
outside looking in saying, you know what, she's doing good. She's and don't even know that this is God's covering because in the midst of everything, I'm losing everything. Don't nobody even understand how hard it
I
is
do.
to stay focused and stay together and keep on going when you see everything falling down around you. But I say, God, I trust you because you must be taking it away to give me something a little bit better. So I keep
Yes.
on going and I keep on going and I keep on going and don't nobody know because I keep on smiling and I keep on pushing and they you this and you that. You don't understand. You on the outside looking in. If I really told you my story, you would probably be here trying to help me. But guess what? I don't need. I told you so. I don't need. You not doing something right.
Amen.
You don't know what I'm
Yes.
doing. I need somebody to say
Yes.
I support you. I understand you.
Yes.
Even at
Yes.
55, even after you've been out of this thing for years, I'm still trying to process things. I'm still going through things as I get illnesses and stuff like that. It brings you back to a vulnerable state when you get diagnosed with things and you like, oh my God, my mom is not here, my daddy is not here, to help me through this. Or it's good that I do have some friends that say, you know what, get on that bus and come down here. You meet her
That's
many
right.
days. Come to my house. My friend in California, she lived in Baton Rouge, but she was in California. Meet me in Las Vegas. We got you. Don't worry about nothing. Just come. And that's means more to me than you putting millions of dollars in my hand. It means more to me than you coming. It means that you care enough that my mental health means something to not just you, but to me, that somebody cares enough to see that it's breaking all around me. Let me kind of give her some love to at least let her know that somebody is here because I don't get that. I don't get a hug. Kids are crucial. Like they don't want to hug on mama every day. And once they get a certain age, you don't get that, that stuff that you usually get from a baby or a child. They always want to be up under you. They want to just do their own thing. So now, I'm coming into an empty nesting type of thing and trying to deal with the fact that I've never been alone. I've never been
Yeah.
alone. I've always
Yeah.
had somebody there. And now it's getting to the place to where, you know, I don't even have a male companion, somebody to say, let's go out to eat or let's go to a movie or, let's go walk in the park or let's go drive down the sunset. Let's go to Mississippi and do something or let me go, let me take you on a shopping spree, or just, get you something. What do you want? What do you want to do today? What do you, it's never that I'm always the one that is, what do, asking somebody else, what do y'all want to do? What can I do to help you?
Your
How can
your latter days are gonna be your greater days. Your latter
Amen.
days.
I
Your
receive that?
I concur.
your latter days. Your
I
latter
receive
Amen.
that. But I just want to tell people that these tears, yes, they're tears that bring back things that I'm remembering, but I want to tell you that they're tears of joy because I'm out of it and I see it and I know how to teach it and speak it and educate people on it. And I love to do what I do and I love loving on people and I love telling them that you can do it and you can be better and you can every day you get up and say, I want something better. I want to learn something new. I need to do this. It's a new mercy today. Let me follow this. What can I do today to change my situation? These are the things that I wake up every morning and I think about. How can I change my situation? Not how can somebody else change it, but what can I do to change my situation? Because faith without works is dead. You got to put your
Amen.
hands to the plow. I don't care how bad what you done been through. It ain't, if you still alive, you got another chance to get it right, to get it better, to do whatever you got to do. You can't give up. You can't let up. You can't look back. You got to continue looking forward. You got to stay faith focused and you got to be faithful in doing so. You got to be diligent in what you're doing and believe in what you're doing. I believe in what I'm doing. Lotus Worldwide started in 2016. I haven't made over $5,000 in 1 year since I've started. Every penny of my money goes into my own businesses until I said, God, until you send the right person that says, I believe in you. And here I want to pour some money into you and support you and sponsor you and give you the things that you need in order to go out and speak and host and educate and counsel or a coach or give some knowledge or give some love or go out and do a peace mission, whatever it is that I am supposed to do. I am believing God that somebody is going to see me. It don't take but
Amen.
one to say,
Amen.
I see you. I understand what you're trying to do. I am trying to change the world one person at a time. And I ain't talking about Baton Rouge. I'm talking about worldwide. Every place that God has made, there is somebody out there that needs to hear a voice that says, you can make it. You can get out. You can be somebody. You can still have your dreams. I didn't go back to college until 38 years old. And I have 3 degrees. I got my associate's degree first in business. I went back, got my business. After I got my associates, I was like, wow, I made 3. I was a 3.2. Wow, I wasn't that in high school. Wait a minute. Let me regroup. Let me go back.
Keep going. Yes.
Went back, got my bachelor's in science and communications. Got that, went back to school, started going to master's of management. My daughter graduated from high school, said she wanted to move to Houston. I'm like, you ain't leaving without me. Dropped that master's of management, got to Houston. I took on master's of psychology, science and psychology. I finished that up, completed that, and just began working on domestic violence and trying to tell people that you can do whatever you want to do. I had a baby in one hand, a mental ill husband on the other side, and I still went to school. I was still being abused. I still went to school. I was still not having nothing. My retirement didn't come. I lost my house during that. My marriage had failed. My car, I didn't have a car. I had to go live with people, and I still continued to go to school because I was determined that this was not the end of my life. This was only the beginning. At 14 years old, I had a hard life. I have never been a child in my life. I've never been able to be a child.
Wow.
I want to have a good time sometimes. Yes, it may look like, oh, she's a Christian and she's doing this. I've never been able to just enjoy a concert. This is like my 3rd or 4th concert, and all of my concerts except for one was when I was grown. I went to Michael Jackson concert in 1975 or 74 or something like that. I was about 4 or 5 years old. And then after that, I was grown. My mama didn't believe in children going to concerts. So I'm learning how to live now. I'm learning how to enjoy life. Get out of, just the stipulation of you're a Christian. Yes, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I put him first in everything I do. Before I step on the floor every morning, I give him his props. I make sure that he knows that I thank him for giving me the breath in my body, because right now I'm still dealing with a lung disease, and he's still waking me up. He's still letting me talk as much as I'm talking right now without really taking a breath. Thank you, Jesus, because a couple of weeks ago, I couldn't hardly breathe. So that's why I say we can make it. I don't care what they tell you. I don't care what the doctor tell you. I don't care what the pastor tell you. I don't care what your friends tell you. I don't care what your family, whatever you see in front of you, that's you see it with your naked eye, put it out the way.
Lisa,
that's what I had to do.
Lisa,
I had to forget that.
I
had to forget that the pain was in front of me, and I had to say, you know what? Though he slay me, yet will I trust him. He told me that I was his child. He told me that I was called, I was chosen, and I know that everything that I have on the inside of me, somebody needed.
Amen. Oh, I love it. I love it. I have 2 more questions for you before we get out of here. First one being, you are still giving God praise and glory after everything you've been through. There are some people that don't understand that. There's some people that don't understand, well, if God is so loving, why did you go through all of that? What would you say to someone that says, how dare you still give trust and faith and homage to a person who has allowed you to go through what you did? What would you say?
that Jesus died on the cross and he went through ridicule after ridicule, and he still died for all those people who still ridiculed him. Who am I? Who am I that I can't forgive? I forgave every man that has ever put his hands on me. There was no way that I would even be in the position I am today to be able to speak eloquently and say the things that I say and forgive the way I forgave and not be able to move forward. I move forward because you know what? Forgetting those things that are behind me and pressing toward the mark. When God gave me a second chance, it was my chance to do the right thing about other people, everybody, because I had to look and say, if I'm broken and I came from a broken family and I want some mercy, what makes me think they don't want it too? What makes me think they're not hungry for it too? Some people just don't know how to say, I need help.
I think that's a very good answer. And I think that the lesson that we can learn from here is we're in this together, guys.
Yes.
There's no when you're fighting a demon like what you got, that's not the time to try to be cute.
No,
You got to fight it with that ugly face,
with your ugly
right?
face.
With that ugly face,
Yes.
the one where you ain't got a wig and you ain't got no edges. I'm talking about that
None.
face. What?
Yes, ma'am. That one right there. The one that
Baby,
say,
you
look
can't
mighty
all
gorgeous and you know it ain't right.
listen. I know that was a bit much, but what I'm trying to say is that life is real and stuff happens to all of us. And for Elisa, it was domestic violence. She was beaten, she was misused, talked about, even went to her family and didn't get the love that she needed. But God bless them too. God will deal with them, because the next time someone, because I'm gonna tell you something. I believe that before you get your blessing, you're gonna get tested.
Oh, yeah.
The testing comes before the blessing. And how
Of course.
many tests have you been presented with that you failed? And I'm not
Huh.
talking about in the natural taking a test, right or wrong answers. I'm talking about the test that God sent you at 2 o'clock in the morning when he needed you to be there for someone, but you just had too much going on and you
Had too
couldn't
much
do it.
on.
Even though you know at 2 o'clock in the morning, you were just going to him, asking him. So I think that sometimes God will test you with the very same thing you prayed for.
Of course. And I can say this too. I missed this part. You know, I was left for dead in 1991. And ended up that same person who left me for dead beat me to a pulp, um, beyond recognition. About 6 months later, he was shot, and he's been paralyzed since then, 30 something years. And I went and took care of him too. So it's just a cycle. It was a cycle of the
Ooh.
same of the abusers that were abusing me. I was taking care of them. So I went through that.
Joseph did too.
Cycle. Crazy.
Joseph did the same thing. They threw him in a pit, right? And then when they got hungry, where did God send them back? Right to him.
Right to him. Right
I
to him.
love it.
And
But
and I
Joseph, yes.
yes, Joseph Calling, and they have a book called The Joseph Calling. I have that book. One of my
Oh,
mentors gave me that book. She said, this book reminds me so much of you. And so she checks on me all the time. Shout out to Miss Cindy Price, who loves me to death. Um, uh, and I just want to say that, whatever calling that you have on your life, and if you made it out of your domestic violence situation, press towards the mark. There's a purpose in everything that you go through. And even though it may
amen.
pain you, I've had some crying times today on here. They were breakthroughs. They were me being
Amen.
able to share my story without um, um, uh, um, being interrupted, without being scared to tell my story, without being suppressed. A lot of things are
Yes.
coming back out now, right now with
Yeah.
me. And I guess because I started writing, things started pouring out, and then when I
Yes.
wrote this second book, which will be coming out before the end of this year, it's called Forbidden Love, Domestic Violence Out Loud, Volume 2, which is the real book, the book that goes into depth with all kind of psychological things that, domestic violence brings. So it's a very educational book. The first one is really just a 101 domestic violence 101 type of thing where, you kind of find out the terms and different things that, the physical, mental, verbal, all those things, the types, the cycles, and probably the control, the power and control wheel, and the vicious cycle, and those types of things in the first book. But in the second book, I promise you, if you didn't watch the Diddy trial, almost every instant or every chapter that is talked about, there is a lot of the jargon that they talked about with him, in the psychological aspects of it, in the sociological aspects of him, and all the things that those women went through. I saw myself in them, so I began to write. And so this book is going to be explosive. And as I said, it was birthed through the Diddy trial and watching Tisa Tales. I don't know if any of y'all watch Tisa Tales, but she was really she did an in-depth commentation of the entire Diddy trial. She went to every one of them, and I watched her every day, and I took notes, and I began to write. And I want to let y'all know that that is a book. Both those, the volume 1 and volume 2, should be in everybody's household. And if they have girls or boys, either one, those children should know something about what's going on in those books. And I'm not plugging it, but I am plugging it because
that's all right. Plug it. No, you plug it because I want you to come back when those books are published so we can go back in more detail. But I have one last question for you. Mm-hmm. If you could change all of this, if you could go back, take all of it away, would you?
Nope. It made me who I am today. It gave me the platform to save somebody else's life. Amen. It gave me the strength or the courage to be able to tell somebody about my story so that I could save somebody. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody
about somebody. Amen. We listen to the same gospel music.
Amen. I'm just a nobody. I'm just here doing what God put me on this earth to do, and I love it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like I love what I do. I love educating people. I love loving on people. I love seeing people transform.
Listen, guys, if you're just tuning into the Ella Johnson Show, we're actually getting ready to get out of here. However, I would encourage you to please watch the rebroadcast tomorrow, or you could just watch this tonight. But, domestic violence is something that we advocate for and support here on the Ella Johnson Show. So whenever I have people that want to share their story, and tonight was a very peculiar situation because this was not the show for tonight. And right before we were going to go live, we found out that our guest of honor was not going to be able to be here. We were going to talk about Emily and Heidi and Elianna Salih. We were going to talk about that story. But then, like 10 minutes, we get a call saying, hey, guys, I'm not going to be able to join you. And what did I say? I said, well, tonight is what?
Elissa's
Elisa,
night.
It's your time. God knew. That's why I don't panic. I don't panic. I don't panic because I know that God will allow certain things to happen because tonight you needed that, Elisa. Tonight you needed it. And he knew that. I didn't know it. Yemeka didn't know it. We came here for a certain show, got our notes and everything ready to go. But God had a different plan.
And he did.
And I'm so glad.
I am too. I'm really relieved because I did have a lot on me. Like I said, I've been getting some backlash, of how I've been living, but until you know my story, you'll never know why. Just ask.
I didn't understand the lung situation. I didn't know about that till now.
I just got diagnosed with COPD. Never smoked in my life. We brought it back to when I was in Iraq. I am a two-time war veteran. So when I was in Iraq, I was with the burn pit units. If anybody knows what the burn pit units is, it's where we had to literally pour gas, which is like a gas that is used in the vehicles in the military, and we had to pour it on top of everybody's waste that was in a barrel that we used out in the field in Iraq. And so you're thinking about thousands of people who have used the bathroom in this barrel, and then you have to pour more gas on it, light it up, and stir it until it disintegrates. And all of these aromas are going into your nostrils, and you're breathing all of this toxins. And so looking back, COPD takes 10 to 20 years to develop. So it was about 18 years ago. And so I'm going through the process right now of going through pulmonary specialists and taking all kind of tests, and just trying to not only go through the VA, getting all my paperwork in order and stuff like that. But in the process of that, a couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with malnutrition, malabsorption, almost lost my life to that. And so I've been like literally struggling for the last couple of years. Just kind of had to give up my car. So I'm carless right now. And just fighting to keep everything else that I have. So when people see me and see, oh, she's in Las Vegas or whatever, and I got calls like, oh, I thought you was this. I didn't pay one penny. Like this was a all expense paid.
Look at that.
Somebody
Favor.
who felt
What?
that they saw the
Yes.
breaking point. They saw my breaking point and they said, no, you're not going to break down. You're not going to
Well,
break
y'all
down.
need to stop worrying about this lady, because everything all tonight you've been talking about what people have said, and everybody's got something
I've
to
gotten
say.
calls,
You need some
like,
new
seriously.
friends. No,
Yeah,
you
like,
need some new
no.
friends, because people that love you will applaud it. I
Yes.
understand favor. Favor ain't fair,
It ain't
know.
fair.
And listen, I'm happy for you. How much did you pay?
Zero. I spent
See?
$6.38, and that was for a bag of chips and a drink.
What? But
We
guess
lost
what? Everybody wants this success, but nobody wants to struggle, right?
Nobody. But I tell
Nobody
you what,
wants
I
to
take it
struggle.
with a grain of salt, and I know that it's not compared to what God has for me, and I see
Amen.
me in the future. I see
Amen.
me going all over the world doing speaking engagements and loving on people and going through the crowds and just saying you can make it, and you can make it, and you can make it, and just knowing that I've encouraged somebody to know.
Amen. Uh-oh. Well, we're getting ready to get out of here anyway, guys. So I want to thank you all so much for tuning into the Ella Johnson Show. Tonight was supposed to be a different broadcast, but God had a different plan, and we heard Alyssa tell her story. So I want to encourage you guys to watch the broadcast on tomorrow, so that you can get the fullness of what we talked about tonight. All right. So we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys again for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, and we'll see you next time. Have a great evening. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about my party for those of you that are watching that will be traveling to Orlando next week for my birthday party. And for those of you that are here, I want you to go and look at the message that I sent you in the invitation platform, so that you know all the details of what you need to do. All right. Where you need to show up, what time you need to show up, because it's 7:30. I want you guys to show up at that address that I sent you, because you're going to be shuttled to the party. All right. So that's very key. Be there at 7:30, because I'm going to have you shuttled from your parking space to the house. All right. So that's next week. And on Friday night, we're going to be at the Sugar Factory on iDrive for those of you that want to come out for that as well. So we're going to have a pre-gathering before the party on Friday night, 8:00 at Sugar Factory on International Drive. And then on Saturday, of course, Boots on the Ground Birthday Bash 55. It's finally almost here, guys. I'm so excited. I can't wait to meet you. Those of you that are traveling, please have a safe trip. All right. Now we're ready to go. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. We'll see you next time.
We are supporters of the Ella Johnson Show. We live in South Korea. We have been watching Ella Johnson's show for like a year now, and we love her show. Her show is very inspirational, motivational, and educational.
If you would like to be a guest on the Ella Johnson Show, send an email to theellajohnsonshow@gmail.com or send a text message to 407-334-6997.
We love Ella Johnson Show.